You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Micah Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And welcome to the WBT. I'm glad that you're here. Today's a Saturday, beginning of Christmas week. So today we're going to talk about, our conversation is going to be about the Constitution and how much it matters to each and every single one of us. I'll be right back after this.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
So I thought I would spend just a little bit of time, not going to spend too much, but just a little bit of time, to tell you exactly how I feel how important the Constitution is and how it's the foundation of everything else in our legal lives, even when it comes to taxation. And I'll give you a little story. I had a client who was under audit by the Internal Revenue Service, and the IRS agent came and asked, "Why are you paying for one of the officer's legal expenses?" I said, "Because we have the right to do that." She says, "No, you should not be paying for the legal expenses of an officer of the company. That should be up to their responsibility, so I'm going to withdraw it from the tax return." I said, "No, you can't do that. That's not constitutionally right." And she goes, "Okay, show me a case so that will support your argument." I said, "Okay, I will." So I was able to find a case that covered KPMG. I guess they had 4 individuals who had done a fraudulent act. At least that's, if I remember right. This is now 6 years ago that I represented this client. So as I was reading the course of it, the gist of the case was, to the judge, the IRS or the Department of Justice had come in and said, "No, you cannot pay for those officers on KPMG. You cannot pay for those. You can't pay for that. That is not right." Well, the judge came back and said, "No, the company should pay for that. This could be a hardship on that employee because there's going to be hundreds of thousands of legal expenses." And she said the reason why is if you do not allow them to have coverage, financial coverage over their legal expenses, this could present a hardship and for them to get a fair trial. And that was the case, to a free and speedy trial. If they had to fire their accountants and let them go because they couldn't afford them, they would be in trouble. So it became the burden of the company to pay for those legal expenses. The judge sided on the defendants, and the DOJ lost that case. Now that was a constitutional argument made by the defendants, and it was a true case, and it was a constitutional argument that they made. So I presented that case study to the Internal Revenue Service, and they allowed the legal expenses on my client. But you have to understand how important the Constitution is, because all of these laws and rulings that are constitutionally based will either help you or defeat you in further arguments. But you're hoping that it's going to protect you. The constitutional case in this was that my client should pay for that because maybe the client couldn't afford those expenses later on. And then what would happen? It would put a burden upon the client, and it would have been put a stall in the proceedings, which would not have been a timely trial. And it puts the DOJ at the top side instead of at an even side when they're arguing these cases. So to me, when I look at the Constitution, and if somebody tries to attack the Constitution, or tries to maneuver it, or try to manipulate it, or try to make a different type of story around that constitutional fact, then I get very upset. And when people say I defend and I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and then they don't do it, then that's when I get pissed off. Not that I want to, but I do. Because it affects you and it affects me. If the Constitution is not supported and it is not defended, but there is pure politics that's going on, you and we're in deep trouble. That's why I keep telling you, when you are listening to all of this nonsense that's on radio and television about constitution and unconstitutional, and if they can't support their argument, or if they can't even support their argument with fact, documentation, a law that was broken, then there is nothing in their argument. It's purely political. So we have to be very careful about who is trying to defend our Constitution, because they have a political agenda. They are going to abuse the Constitution. And that is where we stand right now in the United States. We have people trying to manipulate, not defend, but manipulate where they want to go by shouting the Constitution. In actuality, they're not even close to the Constitution or the laws that were driven by the Constitution. So I thought I should tell you that story only because I feel so passionate about it. And you and I should always feel passionate about defending this Constitution of ours, because that is where the basis of our freedoms, of our liberties is. The document of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is our foundation. And it is what protects us in the event that one side becomes too aggressive and wants to abuse their legal standing, when they literally have no legal standing because they're not following the Constitution. So I told you at the very beginning of this Trump thing, and I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm getting tired of saying it, but I say it every single day almost. Get out your Constitution. Read the articles of impeachment. Read the accusations that the Democrats have made through their 2 impeachment documents. And you will see that it is not even close There's no constitutional argument in there. There is no law that was broken in there. It's based upon political agenda and opinion. So this is where we become so concerned about defrauding the American people by not truly supporting and defending the Constitution and using the constitutional rules on impeachment. Impeachment's so out there. It is only supposed to be used when there is a high crimes and misdemeanor thing, but in the Congress impeachment, there is none. They haven't even been able to prove it. So let's get back. Let's forget about the politics at the moment, but let's get back and really think about the Constitution. It's that body of work from our founders of these great United States who really thought the process through. Not knowing what the future would be like, but knowing that if we had a basis of law that drove all laws, you and I would be protected. If a law was enacted by Congress, it could be easily overturned by just the simple proof of showing if it was constitutional or unconstitutional. And there have been many laws passed by Congress that have been shown to be unconstitutional. A good example just happened 2 weeks ago would be the Obama mandate. It was found to be unconstitutional by 2 courts. So we have the ability to govern our country fairly and wisely based upon the Constitution of the United States. Now, I saw an article this morning saying that the Constitution is out of date and it needs to be restructured, and they just thought the Constitution was terrible. Well, those are the kinds of people that you want to watch very carefully, because that is a dangerous person to the freedoms and liberties of you and me. The Constitution is so important to guide all of the laws that protect us. And if a law is not protecting us and is unconstitutional, thank God there's a court that will judge whether or not if it's constitutional or unconstitutional. At least we have a protection mechanism built within our courts based upon the Constitution. And that's where we need to stay. We cannot have judges being social judges or political judges, which we have seen in the last few years. And each one of them who have tried to do that have always been overturned, because thank goodness there's another set of legal steps that they have to go through to show whether or not if it's constitutional or unconstitutional. We have those protections in place. But we have some judges on the bench that want to play this social justice game, but they're always overturned later on in a higher court. Thank God for that. That's a constitutional right to appeal. So, listen, I know that this is a boring subject, but I just felt that I needed to get it off my chest, because the Constitution in my line of work protects my clients as a tax practitioner. And as a mediator, I look at things a little bit differently. But as a taxation guy, I will fight constitutionally anything that comes against me from any tax organization where I feel that there's an argument there. Seldom happens. But I will fight. And I will argue when there are arguments to be made based upon constitutionality of what's going on. I want you to know, I love this country so much. And I'm so very proud of it. I had an individual the other day say, I'm so upset, I'm so embarrassed of what's going on. I'm not embarrassed, because what's going on for me is this is a big history lesson. And we're going to be talking about the constitutionality of our country for years and years to come of what happened with this impeachment issue. We are living a history lesson. And as we listen to the arguments being made, you and I will be able to make the judgment call on whether or not if that is a legitimate argument or not. If the proceedings that we see right now coming out of Congress, and Congress is not turning the documents over to the Senate, then we have a constitutional issue here. For one, you're not allowing the president to have a speedy trial or a fair trial, or to talk to the witnesses, or to cross-examine the witnesses, or to make those questions available to the witnesses. So they have blocked the constitutionality of Mr. Trump's constitutional rights. I don't care if you hate him. I don't care. I don't care if you love him. That's fine. We're not talking about your feelings. We are talking specifically about the constitutionality of what the Congress is doing to the president. I hope that this helps you just a little bit about how I feel. And I think that if you don't have a great, deep feeling of support for the Constitution, then our nation is really going in a totally different direction, where we will never be able to come back and provide the freedoms or the liberty and the justice for every one of us. If we are going to judge everything politically, we have abandoned the Constitution. And that is not where we should be. I really, you have a few days here until Christmas. Go on to Google the Constitution, Google the Bill of Rights. It's not a hard read. It's a good read. Just read it. And look at all the laws that are protecting you legally. And if they're protecting you, they should also protect the president. Am I not right? This is a fair country, and it's a just country. So we have to continue to support the Constitution. That's kind of a boring subject, right, for a Saturday? I'm sorry, but I had to do it because it was coming off my heart. I was thinking about it last night, and I thought, you know what, I'll talk about it just a little bit tomorrow on my podcast. And hopefully other people will begin to see just the importance of our great Constitution. Don't let anybody tell you that it should be revised or changed. Those are the types of people that you have to be wary of, because they don't have a view of what's good for America. They have what is good for their political agenda. Political agendas are evil things. Okay, that's enough. This is enough of that thing. I mean, just enough. Hey, listen, this is the week of Christmas. I want each of you to go out there and really, really enjoy this Christmas. Put the news, put the television, put the politics, everything to the side. We've got 2 weeks now in the week of New Year's week. And then come back. If you want to become political again, come back on January 5th or something like that. But put CNN, Fox News, all these other nonsense political stuff to the side. And be very happy that we have Christmas. And remember what Christmas is all about. It's about people. Thinking of other people. And helping other people. And loving people. And remembering what Christ did for us. By sending his only Son down here to us. To teach us what is good and what is bad. And the art of forgiveness. That's what this Christmas should be about. I love Christmas. I love the eggnog. I'm not going to lie. The only thing I don't like is that my pants get very, very tight. Okay, you guys, go out and have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas and great holidays. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.